Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining me. It's Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. There's a lot going on again today, so let's kind of go into it, starting with markets. Really, it's still the risk factor, watching the MMRI coming back a little bit, and also the fear greed index heading back towards the greed factor. More buying, slightly green markets yesterday. So right now the sentiment, it's kind of in a range as we were talking about the consolidation, staying within here. These are really what we call theta decay days. If you're an options trader, you know what that means, but it's basically uh, selling options on collecting the options premium. So right now we've got gray, kind of green for the markets. We're expecting PPI and some speakers today, but really everybody's still watching the CPI for Wednesday, the true inflation numbers. But today could have an effect. We got prior to the market open. So watching the relative strength of the dollar as well as the 10-year yield, those pulled back only slightly, so that left more breathing room in the markets. We've got right now stocks kind of level, and we've got the futures showing slightly green. Volatility index neutral to slightly higher, and we're watching gold and silver commodities rising slightly. More of note, really, is the meme stock. So we're seeing there is an influencer, if you will, called Roaring Kitty. So everybody's talking about him coming back because he tweeted, and he was along with the AMC GameStop days. So with that, we watched the rise of that stock. So this still shows to me it's an indicator of bubble territory and still showing that people are willing to throw their money into companies that really for the long term do not have the fundamentals, they don't have the earnings. So there's a lack of awareness. And to me, this is an indicator of newer retail investors that really don't understand the underlying of the markets, don't see the debt bubble coming, and are still risking basically this green money that the older investors in hedge funds are talking about. Those are the sheep coming into the slaughter, if you will. With that calendar today, as I said, we're watching PPI and also Fed Chair Powell speaking at 10 a.m. So I've got Wednesday up here as well because it's all pre-market reports. The core CPI is going to be large if it's anything other than expected. So we are wrapping up the first quarter earnings as well. Still got some today watching Home Depot for their earnings for the real economy. So we've got crypto exchange Coinbase. So they were taken down for a bit, and they kind of went into a panic mode where they had to tell all of their customers that the funds were still safe after this 3-hour outage. Well, this is just one more marker of what can happen with real banks, or I should say traditional banks. This is cryptocurrency exchange. And even after they recovered, what it's showing is that users kept their withdrawals offline even after they had recovered with this. So this is basically an indicator of real banks, the bank runs that are going on. People are pulling their money out of the banks, and I suggest you do as well. Anything that you don't need immediately for your immediate transactions or your immediate bills, get your money out of the banks. You're not making a lot of money anyways on interest, and there's high risk in those right now. So moving over to the UK, we've got the stories come out about pay growing more than expected. So Bank of England talking about their rate cuts, basically about to devalue their currency. We've got the basically one of their central bankers, Pill, saying summer cut is in play. They're being very dovish about this, basically talking about more easy money. So the Eurozone, wage concerns keeping the European Central Bank cautious on rate cuts because they're still seeing inflation. And this is really, you've got a tug of war going on. And as we spoke about before, they are at a critical junction. They have to choose whether they're going to sacrifice the economy or their currency. So in the long run, it's going to be the currency. the basic long run plan is they're going to continue to inflate. Inflation is not done. And with this, there's going to be tremendous amount more of job loss, basically more economic pain, more businesses closing. So with this, we're watching UK jobs market cooling a bit, which will continue, keeping the Bank of England on track for rate cuts. So with those stories, let's go into companies and jobs. So dining out, people cannot afford it, not just restaurants, but also fast foods. So with this, restaurants are feeling the hurt of consumers dropping in numbers. Dozens of Red Lobster locations being liquidated, and they're talking about the abrupt closure. So just a halt to it all, very sudden for them. So we did see Home Depot's sales continue to soften 2024, getting hit by inflation. So sales are actually up, but because of inflation, it's not very much profit in that. So along with this, we're watching the current administration is hiking tariffs on an array of Chinese imports. What does this do? Increases the cost, so more inflationary, of purchasing these import goods, but it's supposed to make you purchase more expensive local goods so that you bolster the local economy, but nobody can afford it. So I don't see that this is going to have the effect that they're expecting, and it's just going to see spiraling lower sales. So we've got Janet Yellen coming out saying that there will be a Chinese response possible unexpected tariff action. Well, that's, of course, there's going to be a response. We have global trade issues with them. They're going to protect themselves in basically either in turn other tariffs on United States goods or in other actions. So with this, we're watching this is more trade wars. United States and Taiwan are engaging in covert joint naval exercises amid rising threats from basically China. So more drills. China is increasing their fleets. And with this, we're also watching the Middle East, United States, the Gaza Pier could start operating in a few days. So this is well ahead of schedule. When they first started speaking about this, it had a 6-month timeline. And the purported use for this is to bring aid into the country. But I'll be not shocked at all if all of a sudden they're starting to use this to deploy the troops that we're talking about coming in here. So with that increasing risk of geopolitical risk war basically going on. So I've got a couple of other things on here, and I'm bringing this up because self-defense I think is critical. Element that a lot of people don't have in the forefront of their minds. And it's okay if you're not comfortable with this form, there are other forms. So 14 non-lethal self-defense masks for every emergency kit. Now, as it says, it's an emergency. It's not as if you're going to go running around during the day using these towards random people or other things, hopefully. But anyway, if you are not comfortable with these, I am, but they're talking about eliminating options for us. And I think that's a huge mistake. But at any rate, without getting too political about that, uh, let's go into our garden pharmacy. Missed out yesterday. So I'd like to speak about borage. So this is also called starflower, Mexican starflower. So it's got a lot of benefits for it. It's also an edible crop. You can eat the leaves basically in salads and the flowers as well. The seeds are edible as well. It's basically very easy to grow, very self-replicating, does have a lot of health risks, health benefits. So if you're having issues with these, cardiovascular disease, blood circulation, your blood sugar, anemia, inflammation, helps improve cognitive function, and then also basically just overall health, immune system, and for your eyes. So it's got a lot of good health benefits, also good for bees, pollinators, which is very important for the rest of your garden. So if you want to attract pollinators, some of this is very good, is what we call a companion plant. Grow it along with your other crops. And then it's also very good for basically compost. And at the end of the season, you can dig it in. It's very good for oil for your soil. So borage oil has a lot more beneficial uses as well. And with this, going to wish you all a wonderful day, green trading day if you would. And until I see you again, my friends, of course, stay free.